pretty tired myself out yesterday, but I got a long way through it. I did build in an error though. Let's have a little look at it. I am going to move 4000 green. That's an animation I rendered the other day just to try things out, but it wasn't that great even though it's 4000 frames. Anyway, I'm deleting those because I want a space. I'm just going to stick the default, or try to stick a default image render in there. And I always call it recursor anim. So, don't actually know where I'm at. 8 recursions, fine. If I say still, save, gives me the message, launches it, says rendering complete, but nothing gets saved. What have I done that has stopped that working? And where on earth, like, I can look at the last render log and see that, yeah, that's today's. Output name, right, there's the problem. Output name untitled, output file name nothing. Why has that occurred? Now the main thing that I'm doing the thing that I think I'm doing most differently that's causing that to happen is copying that. And actually I've just had an idea. If I run it, I think my copy code, in fact I know one problem with my copy code, which I'll come to in a second, for projects. If I just run it and instantly say render, still, save, I don't think it worked. No, it didn't. Well, that's not surprising actually, because it would have saved. Yeah, okay. What I thought there was if I didn't open render options, so a copy was never carried out, but that doesn't make sense. I opened render options last time, so a copy was carried out then, and then the project was saved when I quit. So I could probably, well, okay. First off, let's just have a look in the obvious place. Like, well, see if there's something. Because this, to me, why would it not be now getting a... I wonder. Another thing that I've introduced, I think, since that is this, writing a new int, that I, just after scale style, I write scale value length. And then I write the actual scale values. Yeah. I don't... I don't see the problem. I have run this with the debugger on. It would have crashed anyway. Like that surely cannot be the thing. It's immediately after the C string scale style. Then it writes the number of scale values it's got. So this really, like, resize. I could just say new float numvals. That doesn't really make a lot of sense, I don't think, to do that. Yeah, no, I mean, I just say it as the size of scale styles length, and that, you know, I'm doing something weird there because I foresee maybe changing the size of scale styles, as if doing that would help me, would save me my, you know something, I'm just gonna not do it. Because it doesn't save me anything. I'm just thinking vaguely. I will accept. Also, this will have. Oh man. Like I'm saying, I will accept that, you know, my save files get buggered up when I change the number of scale styles. If it comes to the point that I'm starting to settle down about the number of things I'm saving about any individual project, then I will, you know, bridle dealing with different save versions. But at the moment, I don't kind of feel like I'm close to having decided. Anyway, and I've never also made a project with so well. I was going to say I've never made a project with so many details that I thought it desperately needed saved, but that will change extremely soon. Anyway, also I don't believe changing this will make any difference, so I'm not going to do it right now because I don't think that's what it is. And if I nip down again and see that, yeah, it's followed by frames. It writes floats. It reads floats. It reads an int for that. It writes an int for that. And copy from just takes these things. I mean, that just... Well, the other problem, the other possibility, is I did move things around here, so I should be attentive to what happens inside GUI response. Because here, begin render. For still and video, begin render fn true, fn false. But nah, because begin render has not changed. Project render equals single. Yeah. So, immediately prior to saving it, I can say debug write render name plus project.render name. And I think that that is all I will do. One last thing, I'm going to go back to GUI response. Nope, not that one, this one. Okay, so it sets the output directory, which is no big deal. Okay, so yeah, I can see where it's getting fn from for file name from for begin render. has not changed. Okay, I'm just going to run it again. And I'll just, okay. Well, no, I didn't bugger around with it. I didn't change the save files. I should still get my, yeah. Okay, now if I just say render still, save that pong. See user document recursion. See, that's a render name. And in begin render, that's what gets saved. The process is immediately started. Will I be able to see much in render? I don't think so. Open with, God, notepad. Right, yeah, oh, look there. Yeah, and in recursor classes, save. Here. Render name quality render program. Yep, there it is, and there it is. It didn't break it. Am I in the right place? Yeah, recursor name pro. Render. If I just delete that, I'll make sure that if there's a render thing in there, it's definitely the new render. No reason it shouldn't be overwritten. Yeah, gimme this. Every part of it didn't work. Render appeared. Open that bad boy. There it is. Okay. Right. So it looks really like the render name is, but then it has just been given. If it's failing to load the render name, like this is the same. These I wonder about. Like, are these values correct when it loads? 100, 100, 180. Yeah, I think they actually are. If I set that to 10, then I go away, then I run it again. Yeah, it comes back fine. The only point of that is, man, what's the only point of that? Is to see if these things are being read correctly. And it seems that they are, on and at 180. Okay, also just going to switch that off and make it 100 again. And put that off too. Right. So anyway, so that, I mean, these things immediately prior or very close to prior to the render name are being loaded correctly. This is the same code that's loading render single, read int, write int, render single, yeah. The absolute last is also an int of render single. Why would it be that render suddenly cannot read this? Oh me, oh my, this is a baffling one. Not surprised at a low save pixmap time it wasn't able to do it at all, because it had no name and it was untitled. All of these details are correct. It managed to load the project, file render. Like, what on earth? This project has this piece of information in it. This is extremely upsetting. Well, I mean, what can I do? What if I just compile this again? Is there any, like, sense in doing that? Yes, there is. That is the problem. God damn it. I know. I realize. You compile again because you are compiled with the old version of the blinkin', flippin' code, cursor, render products. The old version of the project class and its load and save things. You're always getting gibberish. But it doesn't really matter the end of that file being gibberish to the renderer because, well, it does because it doesn't get its file names. There's the compiled renderer. Now, here is the old compiled renderer. Plop. Yes, do that. Now, this is not to say it's about to run and work, but it is to say that is the reason for that problem. I'm pretty certain. He said, render still there. Rendering image. Thank you. And thank you. And it's boring, but that's totally fine. I'm happy with boring when boring works. Phew. Okay, well, I'll do a very quick I'll do a quick animation. For loops, yeah. Keep images, true, may as well. They're just overwriting old images anyway. Gradient, and well, I guess I'll make it not grey. deliberately try and make it pretty weird, but okay. Apply, apply, render video, recursor anim there, fine. Okay, let me have a little look and see how long that's going to take. I'm only doing 10 frames. Yeah, each frame's not that quick, mind you. But it's running, this thing's appearing right, it looks a little bit more legible than it did. I want to move this frames per second counter, it's just in a very random place just now. Having it down at this bottom right corner is kind of a nice place for it, except for the fact that, well, yeah, I'll just position it more carefully. It's only ever going to be 2 digits. And I'll take away FPS, it doesn't need to say that. No, that's FFmpeg rendering now. Everything is still working and functioning. This is pleasing. Right, well, I think that is that problem solved. Render complete. So you say 4 megabytes. Well, oh, interesting. Say this is a problem. It certainly seems like there's an aspect of render that has gone out of bounds in some way. Below, what it reminds me of is something gone below the bottom. Pause, don't stop. I didn't like that. Well, that's a strange thing, and I'll have to investigate. Like it's gone below the bottom of pause. Below the bottom of the gradient, or like it's overflowed below zero. Overflowed? It's underflowed. However, it's looped back round to being bright white in this area where I think absolutely nothing is being drawn. Also, this is not the gradient I selected. It went back to this. Right. Okay. That's interesting. Did I cancel it or something? No. Right. Okay, well, that was actually working before, wasn't it? Let me test this. Okay, apply. That worked. This. Apply. Apply. That didn't. Okay, apply. Oops. Okay. It just didn't work at all. Did anything... I thought that worked last time. That one worked. Whoa. Yeah, was I just doing something totally wrong there? Okay, right. Okay, I see some problems. This is a problem, yeah. I can't get that gradient box back. And I can probably... No, I can't trick the render box into disappearing. Okay. I knew this would come back to bite me. Those windows are being made the child of root. That's not where a window belongs. A window belongs in a place called window base. Let me think for just a moment. Inside GUI. Inside. Init. these things I created, root, main zone and desktop. This is really very, very silly. Things are added to the desktop. Main zone. Yeah, things are added to the desktop. I want to add things to main zone and turn off the desktop for my widgets. Okay, right. Nah, that doesn't make any difference. The thing that makes a difference is whether or not the desktop and stuff gets re-enabled when one of my sort of editing windows closes. I did know this would come back to bite me. And what I need is, like, the way I have handled it in the past is it's never been a problem because I haven't been so quick to use a gadget as a canvas sort of scrollable display for the main worktop. Before here that the worktop is just another gadget. This, and of course that means it can be brought to the front. So if this gadget is ever active while one of my windows is open, like this one, and I click on it, this window will be sent to the back and I will never retrieve it. This is not an insurmountable problem, it's just one of these little niggles. Windows like this are actually basically like menus. They don't move. When you click off them, they disappear. You can click around on them. Menus disappear when you click on something. But in these you can click around on them. But yeah, they're like menus. These are windows. And I can't use... Have I got the debugger on? No, it's probably just FFmpeg. I can't use these little volatile windows as option windows because I have to open other volatile windows from this window. The volatile windows are not that flexible. They just, well, volatile gadgets, they pop up and then they're gone. And if you don't click on something that is a child of the volatile, then the volatile goes. And a consequence of being a child of another gadget is you are entirely enclosed inside that gadget. So I can't open this as a volatile, then have, say, a color selector volatile open, because that will occupy more space than this window. If I had a color button in this window, I can't demonstrate it because I can't get gradient open again, or the draw window open again. If I had a color button inside this window that I could click on, if this window is a volatile, it could not have the color gadget, the color volatile as its child because it's too big. So, like, the proper thing to do would be for me to do a bit of a slight restructure of the GUI code. It's very slight. When I first made the GUI code, I foresaw kind of using the GUI quite separately to whatever else you were doing on screen, rather than using GUI gadgets really all over the screen. So, what do I do about that? Well, one thing I could do is I could stop this being a gadget. Like, that's a way of approaching this. So that even when windows are forced to the back, what they're forced behind are these toolbars, and they stay in front of this. That's not really a preferred option. I don't like that option. And it's also not a sensible option. I want to be able to keep, I guess what I'm saying, ultimately it's I want to be able to keep some gadgets in front of others and have them disobey those rules. This is interesting, you know, the same way that I've never got around to coding the actual functionality for this button, because just considering it brought me into the whole rearrangement of this. And the whole rearrangement of this brings me to considering the fact that I need to rearrange my window code a bit as well. All stemming from this little bugger needing a place to go. It was inevitable anyway. It's not your fault. So, really the sort of what I have imagined the solution to this being, and it's part of a larger restructuring of all the GUI code, which, you know, I've been reluctant to do without moving to C++. The way I've imagined this being is actually just making the root gadget a special case when being processed. You know, at the moment, I'm pretty sure it processes every gadget from root, treating everyone identically. But if I made root gadget a special case and said there are basically two children of root, there is no... Yeah, basically make it impossible for you to make a gadget a child of root. Either you're going to be putting it in just some kind of base zone, which might end up being called something like desktop, or it's going to be in the window section. And the Windows gadget just is all... Yeah, basically it is another gadget. There are two... So let me go through this in my mind. There'd be the root gadget, which gets treated as a special case because it only has two children. And they are the desktop and the window layer. I don't know, desktop layer, window layer, desktop, window. I think I called it window base in the past. It's not really a very good name. It's not very evocative. What would it really be? Something that is enclosed inside root. Let me have a little look at it. It's been a long time since I looked. I mean, I've been dipping in and out of this GUI code constantly, but root mouse over, clear mouse over, events clear. Do a huge bunch of palaver, some of which I don't need to do. There's something I do here which is just so, it looks like nothing, but it is everything. And this is a get gadget. This needs a blue beam. Because what get gadget is doing is, yeah, it's finding out which gadget the mouse is over, covered gadget. But from then on in an update, it's straight into exactly what do you do. And I know it looks like a big bit of logic, but basically it is just one big bit of logic. And that carries out a lot of what the GUI does. Mainly it's about making the events, as you can see. And then, yeah, it does do this thing which is called gadget work. If a gadget is held, covered, or focused, which I've sort of thought of getting rid of, but I'm actually not going to just now. Gadget work comes from a time before I was using function pointers, a version of this language actually, Monkey 1, which for one reason or another, didn't have function pointers. Anyway, what is the special case here? And really, how do I sort of enforce the special caseness of it? Like, yeah, I can see here, this is a not special case, you know, if you see what I mean. It's coming straight to render, saying the clip stack is the screen. This is a thing about my GUI which draws, I have realised, incredibly inefficiently. But that's the way it goes. It's still really fast, so I'm just crossing my fingers. Anyway, it doesn't treat, it just calls root draw, and root draw works. It. Wonder what all this was for. Anyway, what exactly happens at this moment when update is called? If covered gadget state equals state. Okay, if previous false, right now it's held gadget, if held gadget. Okay, so then what I'm talking about is a situation where there's not a held gadget, and the left mouse button has just come down. This happens. Held gadget equals covered gadget. Held gadget set state, state pressed. Yeah. Set state also generates an event. So lots and lots of events can be generated. But anyway. My mic. Lots of events can be generated. It does bring to front whenever you click on a gadget. Everything. And bringing to front means basically rattling up through its tree, making everything come to the front. And that's what it does. It's really, really fast, I think. Pops this node reference, which is a reference to this gadget's node in its parents' children's list. But you know what I see here? I see a possible error. Because this could allow hang on one moment. Is visible, returns visible. Show hide. See this. I had to take care of this, and in fact I'm delighted and amazed that I came, oh my god, 40 minutes, I came wandering into my GUI code here, and I've found something which actually is a problem. It doesn't come up much because hiding gadgets kinda doesn't happen that much. In fact, I'm surprised that none of this has ever become a problem, and I would say that the reason it has not is because hiding and showing gadgets is so often part of an update, you know, a thing to update a GUI, which I call often when I click GUI objects. So I click the object, it gets brought to the front. as it maybe should not immediately. It maybe should be on release it gets brought to front. No, it needs to get brought to front on click, I think. Anyway, I click the object, it gets brought to the front. No, I can't click an object whose parent is invisible. Right, that's why it works. That is why it works. It's impossible for me to bring to the front an object whose parent is invisible. I will not fuss with this, except to say, my goodness me, my brain. I make a note here, I think. Bringing to front only ever relevant for visible children. No invisible child will ever clicked or have one of its invisible descendants clicked. Okay, I hope that logic's right, but basically instead of saying not parent, it's if parent equals root. Now, really it's if not parent or parent equals root as a super test, isn't it? This is almost certainly going to cause me problems, but here I go anyway. Everything should have a parent. Like, without a parent, a gadget is never going to be processed. The only thing that doesn't have a parent is root, and if I say if parent equals root here, root will never be brought to front unless somebody calls brought to front on root. Bring to front on root. This does begin to get interesting in my brain. Like, I don't think I'm going to pursue this all the way at this moment. I really can't. But it does make me think, I wonder if root is actually, like, if I do restructure this GUI and make an instance class of some of the things that are currently stored in gadget insanely. If I was to make root a class, or root gadget a class, and make gadget actually extend root gadget, and have bring to front part of the functionality of gadget, I don't know, I'm just trying to think of a way I'm trying to think of a way of enforcing non-calling of bring to front on root without having to check. But you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to save all, and I'm going to go to, oops, a cursor. I'm going to go into main products. Don't bother doing that. Windows, temp. Yeah, and there's a fair few, 4,000 or whatever. And I'm going to get rid of them. Quite a few gigabytes. Because I'm going to zip this up and I'm going to take a copy of it. It doesn't quite work just now, but the things I'm going to do to the GUI might break it all together, and I want to be prepared. Like if prepared to go back basically to this point. I know I should be using something more sensible. Yeah, 6 gigs, I guess. Anyway. Oh, come along, it's not that bad. Well, maybe a bit of big running. Do you need a moment? Windows. Right, yeah, wow. Okay, doing all that together. Sorry if there's a load of drop frames there. Just asking too much of it. But yeah, I'm going to stop because it's already been 45 minutes. First, I will just go to code and see how big Recursor is. 200 megabytes, eh? That's not going to zip much either. I wonder what is in there. What's the worst thing? Well, FFmpeg is about, 90 megabytes itself. Yeah, it's other things really. That's mainly FFmpeg in there. No, it's tiny. Also tiny. Well, these things add up, but basically, mainly, they're all pretty. I guess it's just it. Maybe I'll just go for it. Doesn't matter too much, I suppose. Tiny. Where is everything? Yeah, I suppose all that, yeah, all adds up. Yeah, there's a big one, main build. I guess I could delete that. I don't need. The heck with it. What am I worrying about? I will just zip it. Now, what am I actually about to do? I'm going to change the GUI so that I do divide up the base. I think, like, when I look at that init code, I know what I remember about how the GUI works. I think I was driving at something with that, with the main zone and desktop. Then I ended up with this window base as well, which windows automatically get added to, because then I think I could, I was kind of driving at something, but I ended up with too much stuff. Anyway, let me just finish this off. What date on earth is it? 19/2/21. And I don't have my little pen in, so there it will be for now. Not the most secure. Right. Everything has a parent. This can't have been called if a thing doesn't have a parent. No, if parent equals a root, return. So, in my mind, what that should mean is that when a gadget is on the main zone, when the gadget is the main zone, it will not get moved to the front. Every gadget up to it will get, but not the main zone. But I'm actually going to change that. This is probably going to spoil my day. Okay, right, now I have to think one more time. Because actually there is another level to this, isn't there? isn't there? And the other level to it is that there's the desktop, I'm going to have it called, and I might just have a gadget called the Windows. Windows? Don't know, that's not a great name for a gadget. But it is the gadget inside which all the windows will appear. Desktop should have root, parent root. This is going to cause me problems. Loads of things use main zone, and that's the place putting things go to by default. Things get added to main zone. But what is the special case? The special case is when you want something that's in front of the desktop and the windows and has put both of them to sleep, and the windows will not come in front of this thing. Man, this is really going to cause me problems, but I think I'm going to go for it. I'm thinking, like, what about the file? You know, like the file, the load save, the file requester. Like, if I want the file requester to put the desktop and the other windows, any other windows that might be open, to sleep in a straightforward way, then I want to be able to disable Windows and desktop, effectively make them inactive. Inactive things won't be brought to the front. What happens if... Oh man, oh man. I think I'm just going to go for this and start thinking about the consequences a bit later. I think that the way I'm going to do it is I'm going to explicitly say these things are zones. Desktop zone, window zone, close new zone, root, window zone, align sides, locked to the outside, so it just kind of, and also alert zone. Oops, what am I doing? Losing concentration. Align sides. 0,1 go to 0,1. Okay, and I need to actually make these things, and this is a hideous, hideous place. Default gadgets. There is root. Main zone will no longer exist. There will be desktop zone. There will be global window zone. And there will be global alert zone. I don't know if I'm actually going to end up making use of alert zone when I think about it, when I think about how I'll make this really work, but let me just see. So one thing I instantly realise is I see no window base. So what did I do to change how that works? Somewhere in here there's something called window base. I'll get back to you, I see that problem. What is it actually related to? Yeah, priority panel. That's the one that shuts down everything. And that's the one I think that should appear in an alert zone. But that is weird. That is weird, weird, weird. Not priority. It's a volatile, the volatile panel. And yeah, priority panels shut everything down. Volatile panels don't shut everything else down. Anyway, okay, so this is now sticking window base. It goes to the desktop. Okay, that is not how it will be, and I am happy to change that. This goes to window zone. Every window you set up, you do call setup. God, look, you can do all that stuff in window base. Yeah, of course, because that is the way setup works. There's not that much to this either. So actually, using windows, as long as you stick them in the window zone, it's a fine thing to do. Tool button response, yeah. And this is the resize thing. A lot of this doesn't need exactly played with that much, but I do need to change some of the things about it. Anyway, quite a lot to being a window. But now a window belongs in window zone. Now I have to think about these things. Things like this. A confirm box is a priority panel, is it? It's not. I just made it a gadget. I just made it behave like a priority panel. And the confirm box goes straight to root. That's no good. What a confirm box needs to do is go to alert zone. Am I right about that? Let me think. I mean, all of this, there's like pros and cons to all of this. I'm thinking about the confirm box going to alert zone, and I think that is fine. And I think that I should make something which is like now there's a sort of a special case which is alert state, I would say, which is when main zone and window zone get deactivated, but alert zone is active, is enforced to be active. Alert zone doesn't ever need, shouldn't, I don't think, ever need to be made inactive. I think alert zone will also be used for volatile panels. That's where menus will appear. If I click on an option in the toolbar, I want that option to appear in front of any windows that might happen to be in front of where it'll be on the toolbar, because the toolbar will be in the desktop zone. And I don't want, I suppose, well, I could put those things in the window zone. But the point is, the volatiles going into the alert zone shouldn't mean going into this alert state. The alert state just being that the main zone and the window zone are set to be inactive, and the alert zone is set active. I think this is against my slightly more sensible judgment, but I guess I could stick another thing inside here. And what it will be is a property alert this annoys me because now I'm going to bloody make a little private field and I'm going to stick it right here like an idiot. Alert flag bool equals false. And it's just gonna, I just think it's gonna come back to bite me. Okay. And it means that desk A, okay, if B equals true, else. If you're going into alert mode, the desktop zone active equals false, and the window zone active equals false, and the alert zone active equals true. And in under both cases, alert zone active is going to be true. I'm just going to enforce it right here because I know I'm stupid enough to play with these things. Div equals true. Window zone active equals true, and alert zone div equals true. Okay, so now inside some horrible thing, priority panel. What's that? Oh yeah, confirm overwrite, okay. Does that bloody... that just extends gadget as well. Such a stupid arsehole, in a way. Okay, that does not happen, but now alert equals true. And here, alert equals false. And that just should bring back the desktop and the window zone. Let me nip down to the bottom here and just start at the very bottom and say, look here, main zone active equals true. That actually becomes alert equals false. Bring me back to reality, in other words. And somewhere in here I'll say another wrong thing. This means take me into alert mode. And now do I just basically scroll through, I don't know, what is it, 6,000 lines of code or something? Look at me creeping up there, I can see it moving. There's something that I want to ensure, which is that null, every gadget gets set up. Okay, right, this is me back at a confirm overwrite, a thing so common I made it. Alert equals false. The problem with saying alert equals false when I come out of situations like this is, what on earth if two alerts overlap each other? And I bet that that is going to happen one of these days. What am I going to end up doing? Building like an alert stack or an alert, counter. And what is this I'm in now? Confirm overwrite. Oh, it's a confirm box. I am just going to say, yep, alert equals false. And yeah, I know, you love the main zone. Alert equals false. And now I'm changing my mind about this, but I am committing to this for this version of it. I'm sorry for just wasting time, and in fact, that's 106. There's no way I'm getting anywhere constructive at this moment, so unfortunately, I'm going to stop just now. I'm going to come back soon and just carry on making this change.